So, 2 days I've been debating whether or not I needed to make this video. And what I've concluded is, no, I don't need to make this video, but I think a lot of people could learn the same lessons that I learned from my experience. So, without further ado, this was my experience at Skijor, Bangor, 2024. So, pretty much from the beginning, the day was just kind of chaotic. And I know a lot of this stuff was not preventable by the people that put it on. Obviously, there was an issue with loose horses, footing. I just want everybody to know that I plan on volunteering next year because I think that skijoring has a huge opportunity in Maine, and why not help it get better if you can, you know? And I benefit from skijoring. It's good for my horses. So why not put time in to help better it? Before I even say any sort of opinions or things that aren't concrete fact, I'm just gonna go over exactly what I saw and what I witnessed, and then afterwards I'll kind of reflect on my opinion on exactly what happened. But before this competitor and volunteer meeting even started, there were one loose horse, and when he got loose, he just kind of circled around. Nobody could catch him, no halter on him. I think he had a saddle on, and he ran right out the gate eventually, after nobody could catch him, ran across the side streets of downtown Bangor, through the golf course, I think, and ended up on the highway. So, because it ended up on the local news, I believe, they let us walk our horses across the track to kind of familiarize them with the footing, the obstacles, anything that might be spooky. And while walking it felt okay, but I could tell there was a lot of snow underneath. And walking a horse versus galloping a horse has a lot different amount of pressure on the ground. So sometimes you can't tell how it's gonna go at full speed when you're just hand walking. And that was one of my mistakes, was hand walking. I really tried to assess how the footing looked, because at the beginning I even had concerns with the course walk, how my horse was gonna run in it. But it looked okay. So as of the course walk in the meeting, I was planning on running still. So the first few novice runs, because they ran novice first, which is no jumps, supposed to be slower horses. No horses fell in the novice, but watching the runs, a lot of them tripped. You could see them, they would be going, and then they would lose their footing and stumble and have to catch themselves to get back up and keep going. So that was kind of hard to watch. And watching that, I was debating even running at all, and I almost scratched just watching those horses trip. But what they did was, after the novice, obviously it was an issue from the get-go because the first few horses tripped. They might not have fallen, but you shouldn't be tripping at a full gallop, I don't think. They tried to bring the skid steer in between the divisions to clear the snow out and have less in there, which, you know, obviously they know there's too much snow on the track if they're making effort to remove it. So at this point, they were trying to fix the conditions for pro. I don't know if they declared what they did with the skid steer successful or not, because at that point I was so focused on warming my horse up that I could hear the skid steer. I could see, like, in the distance what they were trying to do, but I couldn't really see track conditions. So anyways, we'll take a little detour from the footing talk, because I don't know, I debated even talking about this in particular, this incident, because I don't want it to feel like a call out, but at the same time, I feel like if you bring your horse to a public event, you're subjecting yourself to being witnessed and perceived by other people. So I won't pass any judgments on this person. I won't say any opinions because I don't know her backstory, but the horse before me was just leaping and flipping sideways and trampling people. I think it ejected its rider 2 or 3 times, and they had to dismiss her before I went, which is whatever. I get game shows and speed events, there's going to be blown up horses, but this was a horse that was like, the rider would go to swing on and it would just, I'll spare you the details anyways. But so obviously there's some concerns for horse welfare here, because she ran and she got a good placing, this person on this horse, and that was hard to watch because I really don't believe that animal wanted to run the way it was acting. They don't do that for fun. They don't leap and fling themselves on the ground for fun. They might buck or kind of skip around, but this was like serious behavior. So now, believe me, I get it. My horse had a bad day at Skijor at the Skijor. When I went to walk up, she just didn't want to leave the giant group of horses in the warm-up, so she kept turning around and heading back. Now, reading the rules, they had the authority to dismiss that horse, but they chose not to, and they eventually were able to get on the thing and start. Anyways, she cleared and I was able to go, but 4 strides in, my horse tripped, and I tried to pull her up and slow down and ride safe, but it's hard to ride safe when your horse is tripping because they catch their balance forward, they stretch their front legs out to be able to upright themselves, and that puts them faster. So it was hard to slow her down, very difficult, as much as I tried. So the videos of me riding are very ugly, I'll put up. Now, my horse is very sure-footed. She has run in some pretty serious conditions before, and I truly felt like she was ready to run in tricky footing, but this was probably the worst I've ever had to go in. It was scary because I normally wouldn't have made that decision to keep going and keep running that fast, but you can see in the video I'm trying really hard to stop her. I wanted to walk, but we compromised at a balanced canter, and I swerved way over to the side to try to escape the footing. Ended up in probably the worst of the footing, even though I tried to scope it out visually. Now, before I ran, I went and found somebody that I know through Pony Club, and I trust her judgment. She had run prior to my time, and I asked her how the footing was. She told me that her horse had a decent time with it because it runs with its head up. And I thought, well, my horse runs like that. I have a good stop on her. I have a good rebalancing aid. So I think if I play it safe, I go slow, and I just try to go clean, I'll be okay. What I didn't predict was the tripping affecting my ability to stop or slow down. So that was probably the scariest part about it, is that I had a plan and then my plan failed. And my plan B was to just pull up completely, and I couldn't even do that. So it was definitely a sketchy 35 seconds, really. I was terrified. I remember going by the grandstands and just cussing so bad that I was embarrassed at how much I was cussing. Now, the track that I hand walked my horse on that morning and the track that I ended up running on were 2 different textures, and we didn't get any warning that it was different while we were warming up, but I did notice that the skid steer was there moving the snow, so I assumed it would be better. I assumed that when I ran, I would have better luck than the novice because they were making efforts to fix it and change it. It took a long time, so I'm like, okay, they must be scraping quite a ways, right? What they ended up doing was digging giant crevices and holes in the track that then when they graded it over with landscaping rakes, it appeared to be flat. When you looked at it underneath, it was a nightmare. And that's why you see in almost all the videos horses running, diving, and running and diving. So Here, I'll put on the GoPro video of us running, and we can count just how many times my poor pony trips and saves my life. So, without further ado, here is the full GoPro video of us running Skijor Bangor 2024. Luckily from this back angle, you really can't see how hard of a hand I have to ride with, but I was not going to let my pony run herself into that ground, and she knows her job well enough that she took over, and I had to really be like, this is different, you need to back off. So now, every show that I go to, I make sure that I take care of my horse first. Once I'm done riding, I make sure that she's unsaddled, she needs what she needs. Most of the time I put wraps on her. And, you know, for this horse in particular, I don't leave her at the trailer alone. I don't know her well enough away from home to know that she's not going to try to pull off. So I just stay there. If I go somewhere, she goes with me. And so when it was time to scratch my second run, I had my skier go do it because I was just busy and I wanted to take care of her. So after she was done, I put her on the trailer and I just decided to go because I didn't feel like I was in a place where I could end the event from my opinion alone. So, and to even pin the event after not allowing people to give their best shot because they canceled it. They stopped running halfway, or maybe it was at the beginning of the second runs, but they were partially through the second runs and they stopped letting people go, but then they still handed the prizes and the cash out. Not even about it being fair. It's like, who cares how fair it is? It's horse showing. Nothing's fair, right? Can we all agree on that? But to have money, to have a podium like that, to celebrate it, to dress the horses up after they just ran possibly to their deaths. So anyways, I'm going to include this picture of one of the last falls they had. I'll blur the guy's face for privacy, but you can see right next to his horse who's taking a face dive into the snow, there's a poor little boy who very easily could have witnessed a death right there. I think they still ran horses after this fall, which to me, I will say this is an opinion. I'm appalled that they ran horses after this happened. So I wanted to get this video out before they pin the Triple Crown this weekend because I don't think anything real is going to come from me making this video, but I at least want the public to know the truth about who won this and why I'm not going to be clapping my hands extra loud for any of those people up there, because I don't think they're bad people, but I don't think this is the kind of thing that we need to be practicing and promoting in a state that already has severe animal welfare issues. So I hope I covered everything I wanted to cover, and I hope people don't think I'm calling organizers, competitors out. I just cannot believe what I saw this weekend, and I want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So hopefully you guys will see me on the committee. I'll be there helping build the track, ideas, suggestions for next year, because as much as I want to just say I'm done, I'm never coming back, I know that that won't solve anything. So we'll pull up our sleeves, we'll get our hands dirty, and we're gonna fix skijoring for 2024. So much love, you guys. Signing off.